The new Sonic Racing CrossWorlds game is almost here, just 2 days away from recording this video. I spent a few hours playing the free demo and wanted to share my initial impressions before the game's full release. I was able to get the free demo version running on my Steam Deck just fine on my second attempt. I tried to use Proton Experimental, but that failed. Changing the compatibility mode to Proton's Hotfix allowed the game to run. So at the time of recording this, if you are trying to run the game demo or the full game on a Steam Deck, you'll probably need to use Proton Hotfix, at least for now. In the future, more versions of Proton will be able to support the game. I kept the demo on the default low graphics settings, and while that left a bit to be desired for the overall visual quality, compared to a more powerful machine being able to run all the settings on high, I was just glad to see that the game ran smoothly on Steam Deck at all. And it did. I had no problems running the demo after the initial Proton version change for compatibility. In the free demo version, you can play as 4 different characters: Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. You can choose between a variety of different vehicles, including playing around with customization features even in the demo. And you get to race on one cup in the Grand Prix mode, which has 3 brand new tracks: E-Stadium, Rainbow Garden, and Water Palace. Other than Chow, the entire cast of playable characters returns from Team Sonic Racing, the predecessor to Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. And many others have been added to the roster this time, including Cream and Cheese, Egg Pond, Sage, Zaz, Charmy, and Espio. Jet, Storm, and Wave also make their return from the Sonic Riders games. There are even more characters that will be included with future DLC content as well, including many cameo appearances of popular characters outside of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. So you can look forward to a large cast of playable characters in the full game. This time around, characters are not restricted to specific types of vehicles, depending on their type. It seems the developer expanded the approach they took with Team Sonic Racing to include greater flexibility. Now, any character can choose to race in any vehicle you wish. Each character has a stat focus that they increase particularly well, such as speed for Sonic, acceleration for Tails, power for Knuckles, and handling for Amy. But they are not restricted to only using vehicles with that dominant stat. This means that in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, you can truly customize the play experience however you wish. For example, you can put Tails into a speed-type vehicle, and his focus on acceleration stats will give that vehicle slightly more acceleration than it normally would have with a speed stat character. This means you can truly play with whatever character you want, and still keep a competitive playstyle of your liking. In addition, like with Team Sonic Racing before it, you can unlock new car parts by racing, and this will grant you many more customization options to change the way your vehicle performs, and even how it looks. All the bells and whistles that the vehicle customization features of Team Sonic Racing had have returned, but now with even greater utility, since you can mix and match drivers and vehicles to your liking. This really feels much better than how it has worked in any of the previous games in the series. The ability to play with the character you want and have the kind of play control and experience that fits you best appears to be at its very highest potential in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. If you felt limited by the available choices, or frustrated by these kinds of restrictions in earlier games, you'll be pleased with how flexible this newest entry is. As far as the racetracks are concerned, most of them are brand new for Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, with only a small handful of returning tracks from earlier entries in the series. In the demo, we only get to sample the first 3, but thanks to one of the new features of CrossWorlds, it sure feels like you get to try a lot more than just the 3 tracks that are unlocked. As the name suggests, you cross into other worlds during lap 2 of each race, but it's not always a static choice. And the courses that you race on when you cross into other worlds are, at least in the demo, exclusive to these cross-world laps. How it works is, whoever is leading the race when lap 2 begins will be presented with two circles ahead of them on the track and two digital pads to drive over. Usually the choices will be between a specific course shown in the image and a random track option. If you choose a specific course by driving over its respective pad on either the left or right side, your lap 2 experience will be that specific choice of track. Otherwise, you can choose the other option instead, which is often a random selection. What this essentially does is provide a high replay value and variety into a single race experience. Your lap 2 of each race may be completely different, even though you race on the same course multiple times, because different courses will be selected during the CrossWorlds section. In addition, courses during lap 3 also undergo noticeable changes compared to their lap 1 counterparts, such as different paths or vehicle sections opening up, so that adds more variety, just like how many courses worked in Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. And speaking of that particular entry in the series, the transformation mechanics return here in full force. You will change your vehicle from car to boat or plane at specific parts of each racecourse. And to add even more variety, some of the CrossWorlds also feature boating or flying sections too, further creating a dynamic feel for every race. Unfortunately, we don't get access to any of the boost vehicle types or the hoverboard style vehicles in the demo, but it's understandable that they would want to save some surprises for the full game release. In addition, there have been some quality of life improvements compared to how things worked in Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed that feel quite welcome once you get used to them. For example, boats now work a little differently than they used to. Rather than the drift boosts like normal when turning, which often felt awkward to perform in Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, as most of the boating sections were rather straight and narrow paths in that game, now you can get a boost by simply holding down the drift button without having to turn in a boat. This new way of drifting while driving boats feels much better to use, and it also gives you a new mechanic, the boost jump, which allows you to jump up into the air. You can use this to not only get a speed boost repeatedly in water, even on straightaways, but also you can reach valuable items that are placed a bit higher up in the air. Boating sections feel more unique and dynamic thanks to these new controls and mechanics. A small but welcome change is also to the rings when you transform your vehicle into planes, cars, or boats. It actually shows a visual icon in the center of the ring now, to alert you ahead of time to what kind of transformation you are going to perform when you reach it. Something else that changed with the controls that feels quite welcome is the trick feature. Previously, it was tied to the right analog stick and felt a bit awkward at times to use. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds has changed this by default to use the left analog stick, so it feels more natural and simple to pull off tricks in the air to get boosts more easily. The drift boost meter is much easier to see visually now too, with a number that allows you to instantly know what boost level you are at during a turn. Another welcome change is the item pickups. One of the main complaints I have about the Sonic Racing series in general is that every entry seems to change the items that are used, even when they have functionally similar effects as previous items. Team Sonic Racing was particularly difficult to grasp their Wisps items. They were too similar looking to one another and didn't feel distinct enough to stand out and become very recognizable, even after becoming familiar with the game. It was very easy to mistake one item for another at a quick glance, especially during a hectic race. Thankfully, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds went back to a more well-designed and easily recognizable system for their items. While still not exactly returning from earlier games, the items this time around are, for the most part, easier to recognize and understand what they're going to do, just like how it was for Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. I would love to see them stick with most of these same exact items for whatever Sonic Racing franchise game comes in the future after CrossWorlds, so they can finally establish some consistency in this regard between titles. But it's enough that items feel distinct and easily recognizable again for this latest entry. While I'm mentioning items, I should say that the ability to launch almost any item both forward and backwards is retained, which was always a very welcome feature of past games as well. There are a few that are not able to be controlled manually like that, but they are reasonable items where you would not expect to need that. like the King Boom Boo, which targets the first place racer, or the Shield item, which is a protective item that doesn't leave your racer's proximity. If you're the type of person to appreciate having a lot of settings that you can customize and adjust in your games, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds has a fairly robust set of options you can customize, including graphics quality settings, customizing your controls, accessibility features like steering assist, trick assist, or auto accelerate, and even toggles for whether or not certain things will appear on screen during races, like the trick or race commentary displays. And yes, the racing commentary does return from Team Sonic Racing, although its frequency is much lower than in the previous game. That may be a pro or a con for you. If you really dislike it, you can disable it completely from the game's settings menu. I rather enjoyed that aspect of Team Sonic Racing personally, so I'm glad to see it returned in some form for CrossWorlds. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds has a new feature to the series where you have a rival racer to compete more directly against during a Grand Prix. These rival racers have a total of 10 difficulty levels, and the difference between a level 3 and level 5 rival already feels quite significant in the demo, so I imagine that a level 10 rival is going to be a truly challenging opponent. Rivals also have special dialogue scenes and additional commentary while racing, such as when you hit your rival with an item or pass them on the track. It adds some more personality and liveliness to the races, and is reminiscent of the banter between characters in Team Sonic Racing. After racing for a little while, you unlock a feature called Frenzy, which sometimes adds a little icon to the CrossWorlds rings as you are about to drive into them during the second lap of races. If you choose one of the Frenzy CrossWorlds, a random effect will be applied during that portion of the race, such as repeatedly being able to boost even without items, or having incredibly quick drift boost charging meters, making it effortless to perform multiple high-level drift boosts even on a single curve in a track. And for even more variety, a new feature called Gadgets allows you to further customize the playstyle to suit your preferences. You are able to equip a number of gadgets into your gadget plate, and depending on the gadget's functions, it may take one or more slots to equip it. Some of these changes are surprisingly significant, however, so this is a feature you will want to experiment with and find a combination that you really enjoy using. Some standout gadget power-ups include being able to carry 3 items instead of 2, being able to charge your drift boost meter more quickly, and even controlling the specific types of items that will appear more often for you during a race. Not only can gadgets help give you an edge during races, but they also significantly alter the way the game is played, so it makes them feel very worthwhile to use. The one thing I noticed that the game seems to be missing this time around is a story mode, but it's possible it was just not enabled in the demo, and perhaps the full version of the game will still include one. Even if not, though, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed did not have a proper story mode either, and that game did just great for itself, all on its own merits. So perhaps Sonic Racing CrossWorlds will be similar in that respect, and that's nothing to really knock it for. But it may be one advantage that Team Sonic Racing still holds over the other entries in the series for folks who are looking for more story emphasis in their games. Even with all this, I feel like I've only scratched the surface of the demo, let alone all there will be to see and do in the full game. So I would definitely recommend this game to fans of the Sonic Racing franchise, or kart racing games in general. It feels like it has the potential to be the best entry in the series to date. But what do you think? Have you tried the demo or played the full game? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.